Hello, viewers. Welcome to our next episode of Lancet Talks, which is our series of discussions with Colonel retired Rajendra Bhaduri, who during his service life has had a mix of experiences with armor as well as army aviation. And he has flown all over the LAC in Ladakh, which we're discussing today. Now, today's discussions basically concern us about the recently concluded eighth round of talks between India and China at the Corps Commander level about resolving the situation around the LAC. A lot of media speculation has been happening in India about uh, supposed agreements which have almost been reached, and within a very short time, the Chinese media has negated such agreements. It's all very confusing and to a certain extent alarming. So we go to Colonel Bhaduri to understand from him what this all means. Welcome to our next episode of Lancet Talks with Colonel retired Rajendra Bhaduri. This time we are going to focus on the ongoing speculations in the media about the latest round of talks between India and China on the situation on the LAC. We have been hearing conflicting reports in the media in India and from Chinese quasi official media. So, we would like Colonel Bhaduri to help us understand the implications of all that we are hearing. Now, before that, let me summarize for our viewers what is it that we are hearing. We are hearing that a near agreement has been reached whereby India will vacate some areas and China will pull back from certain other areas, and there'll be a buffer zone created. It's like a no man's land in the area which has been vacated by both armies. For example, the first proposal is north of Pangong Tso. India will stay behind Finger 3, and the entire area from Finger 3 to Finger 8 will be a buffer zone, and PLA will pull back just behind Finger 8, which is the Sirijap complex. The implication is, of course, that all these days before April, India claimed Finger 8 to be its perception of the LAC. Down the generations, Indian security personnel have patrolled till Finger 8, and Indian government has very firmly claimed that Finger 8 is the LAC in that particular part. So that's the first part of the proposal. The second part of the proposal is that the Indian Army will vacate all those heights on the Indian side of the LAC, mind you. I mean, I would like to focus on this particular part, that this is on the Indian side of the LAC, which Indian Army had occupied at the end of last August, but which held a huge tactical advantage in the Kailash range, and that would also become a buffer zone. And before these things happen, both sides would withdraw heavy equipment like armored vehicles of all sides, of all types, from the almost eyeball to eyeball situation which they are in now. Now, we would like Colonel Bhaduri to tell us what all these imply now, the implications. Colonel Bhaduri, please.
Hi, nice to be back. Okay, uh, before we start discussing what is happening, what is being reported in the media, etc., let me link to the previous talk that we had, where I had summarized in the end that all international disputes or problems, conflicts, don't have a military solution. Now, the problem is that 8 rounds of military to military talks have happened. Now, people need to understand a fundamental difference. The People's Liberation Army, PLA, traditionally is uh, not a independent armed force of the Republic of China. PLA de facto is the military wing of the Communist Party of China. What I mean is that every PLA member, be it an officer or a Jawan or etc., is a member of the Communist Party of China. Implication is that when a corps commander level Chinese PLA general is sitting there, he is sitting as a representative of the Communist Party of China, the ruling establishment of China, as a political representative. However, our General Saab, Corps Commander, is a military commander. He is not a member of the ruling political establishment of which is in Government of India. So this has to be understood. Now, why I say this is that last time also I had said that for some strange reason, the Government of India, the political establishment, has shed all its responsibility onto that corps commander or those military officers to deal with Chinese PLA and come to a settlement.
So I'll just interject here. This time in the eighth round, apparently, someone very senior from the bureaucracy was also present at Moldo during the talks.
See, someone from the bureaucracy is always present. Someone. That someone will never come be named. Who is that someone? We know that the corps commander to corps commander level talks are coming. So that means 14 corps commander is directly named. You get the point. So that someone is the missing link. Because now what is happening is the Government of India is not giving any statements. What those 2-3 agenda points that you are talking of, that you introduced this talk, have been reported by the media. And
Yes, sir.
that media says based on reliable sources. Problem is that who is that reliable source? No media tells us who is that source, who is that person, who is that person in position of authority. So the point comes that in recent yesterday and today, the Chinese media is reporting no, the Indian media is talking all nonsense. There is nothing of that kind. Now, what is true? Okay, so now let us talk of these three issues that have come up. One is deployment along the north bank of Pingongsu. Now the point is that where the Chinese go eastwards, northwards, or any direction from Finger 8 is of no concern of us. But as reported, one of the agenda point is that Indian army will withdraw and position itself not at Finger 4, at Finger 3,
Behind
at
finger,
Thapos.
behind finger 3.
That is what I'm saying. Behind Finger 3. That means uh, Chinese have not moved back from their territory behind Finger 8 or whatever. They have not moved back from their claim of Finger 8. They claim up to Finger 4. We de facto have given the Chinese under the garb of no man's land or buffer zone. It is we who have even agreed to move back behind Finger 4, behind Finger 3. Now the Chinese are claiming up to Finger 4. So now you tell me.
They are moving back to behind finger 8 to the Sirijap complex. And they are
No, no,
proposing that between finger 8 and finger 3, the entire territory becomes a no man's land, a buffer zone.
no. What I am saying is the Chinese are in any case claiming up to Finger 4.
Yeah.
Now we are saying that we will move behind Finger 3.
So,
Even though the traditional Indian territory, the limit of patrolling was Finger 8.
yes, sir.
Limit of patrolling of ours our territory was finger 8. Now we are not only giving away our right to patrol up to finger 8, we are giving away finger 4 also. We are falling back behind finger 3.
Yes, sir.
So the Chinese don't have to come and occupy up to finger 4. We are proposing that okay, we will let go of that territory. What is buffer zone? What is no man's land? How can you say कि I will create a buffer zone in my territory?
It's our side of the LAC, sir. Our
That
side
is
of
what I'm,
the. Yeah.
that is what I'm saying. If there has to be a no man's land, it has to straddle the LAC. That means the line passing through finger 8, whatever, 1 kilometer, 1 kilometer the Chinese side and 1 kilometer our side, or 2 kilometer Chinese side, 2 kilometers our side, should be the buffer zone with the LAC passing through the center. Now, finger 8, they will not move back, but we will move back behind finger 3.
So.
That is number one. Number two is they want us to vacate the complete Kailash Heights, Kailash Ridge line. Now in 1962, due to whatever our own lack of appreciation by our own commanders on ground, the brigade commander, etc., we vacated Kailash range and fell back to defend Chushul. The Chinese occupied Kailash range.
So.
After ceasefire, the Chinese went back. Now, as per Chinese, their 1959 claim line, which we in any case officially reject, is Kailash range. So that means if we are vacating Kailash range, that means we are accepting the 1959 Chinese claim line. If we fall back behind finger 3, that and leave finger 4 within whatever, call it buffer zone or no man's land or whatever, that means we are accepting the Chinese 1959 claim line.
Sir, and this time, like I said, since a bureaucrat was present, who is reported to be Naveen Srivastav, the Joint Secretary, Ministry of External Affairs. So, does it lend more credence to this thing about India accepting de facto their claim line?
No, the credence is based on official statement by the government of India or by the External Affairs Ministry. If this Srivastav gentleman was present in the meeting, the news reports which have come are not quoting Mr. Srivastav,
Sir,
nor
it
has
is
the external.
that he was present there along
No,
with
he was
General PGK Menon, Lieutenant General PGK Menon,
all
Naveen
right.
Srivastav.
Okay, he was present in that meeting, understood. But has the External Affairs Ministry given an official statement that these are the terms of reference that are being negotiated with the Chinese? No. So the point is, I have already told you about that so-called buffer zone, finger
Yes, sir.
8, finger 4, finger 3. That is one side. Now,
Yes.
now coming to this Kailash ridge line, this height. Now, this height is very crucial to us in the sense, not only that we reject the 1959 claim line, the other thing is that the complete Chushul and the Indus River and the Chushul Pengongso South and the Chushul axis uh, through the Chumathang, Chushul Chumathang and Changla axis, is protected by this ridge line. Now, if we give up this ridge line for whatever reasons, then the Chinese have the upper advantage because they already are sitting at relative heights. Uh, they already have posts uh, behind the ridge line. They already have a road behind the ridge line. So, so we tactically we should not vacate or give up the right to hold that ridge line. It is it is it is suicidal.
So, in fact, in the month of July, Lieutenant General Panag had written, and he had also told me that Kailash Range was one of the very few places where India can claim to have an advantage and for a riposte, a successful riposte. And
It is a very strategic ridge line. That is what I'm saying. We just cannot afford to let go of control of that ridge line under any circumstances. That is the reason why recent reports was that our troops, along with Vikas troops, have gone and occupied those heights. Assuming the news reports to be true, the Chinese PLA is not jittery for no reasons. They are jittery for obvious reasons. Because if we hold those heights, then the Chinese control of Pingongso South and uh, uh, this Morgo axis is
the
vulnerable.
Moldo axis, sir?
Moldo
The Spangur,
axis,
Spangur Gap.
yeah, the Spangur Gap, the complete Spangur Lake, Moldo Garrison, etc., are vulnerable when we are sitting on that ridge line.
Plus, that was the only place where we had actually gone across. There are claims that India had gone across the LAC and occupied the ridgeline at Rekin. The only place where across the LAC.
Uh, I it could be it could be a bit difficult. Why I am saying is that the 1959 line and the 1962 LAC, they converge, they nearly converge at that Rekinla ridge line. You get my point. If you see the map, then the 1959 claim line, which comes through finger 4 down across uh, just north of just north of Thakum, and then goes along the ridge line and then meets up somewhere there. So 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 we cannot let go of that ridge.
Sir, tell me something as an aviator. Now, you have flown over those heights. Have you ever seen them occupied?
No, they were never occupied. The 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 Chinese post of Rekinla is on the leeward side, inside the pass. It is
Sir,
below the ridge line.
the
Our
Rekin Ridge
post,
is not occupied.
the Rekinla ridge line, their Rekinla post is behind the ridge line. Matlab, looking from our side. While we are looking from our side, then the ridge line, and on the reverse slope is the Rekinla post. Not visible, not visible line of sight from ours until unless we are sitting on top of the ridge line. Okay, there are no permanent structures in the complete ridge line. Our own Rezangla post is on our side of
Sir.
the ridge line, niche.
Yeah.
So our Rezangla post is again not visible from the Chinese side of the line of control, uh, line of actual control. There is nothing on top. There are no bunkers. There are no uh, construction.
All those 11 heights, which they're claiming,
Yeah.
you know,
So
to
there is
the
nothing.
south and north of this Tangur Gap.
Yeah. Why now? It is something interesting uh, to think of. There is a reason why nobody was sitting there, neither the Chinese nor us, because till now neither the Chinese were bothered, neither we were bothered about occupying. For some reason the Chinese have, or the Chinese political establishment, including the military establishment, have come to a conclusion which remains a mystery for me. They have come to the conclusion that now is a time where they can flex their muscles and push and claim their right over the 1959 claim line.
So maybe they found us to be weak now, India to be weaker than it was in the last 50 years ever.
See, that is a very, very problematic thing to answer as a military man. Because, to be honest, if you see the reactions that have come from the political establishment since the month of May, or since the time this flare up happened and then the Galwal incident happened, etc. Somehow the political establishment in India has been constantly in a state of denial. And like I said in the very beginning of the talk, that somehow the complete responsibility of negotiating with the Chinese and coming to a solution has been, you know, offloaded onto the shoulders of the military brass, which is there on ground. That means 14 Corps. For the first time, you know, for the first time since independence, the responsibility has been given to the military to decide. Ki bhai, you talk to these guys and come to a conclusion. The political establishment is not coming ahead. What I what I mean to say is that in 1962 also,
So
which is supposed to have been a very shameful part of our, political and military history, uh, after announcing ceasefire, the negotiations were done by the political establishment, by the Nehru government, by the government of India, to come into a understanding, to create a list of CBMs, confidence building measures, etc., etc., were negotiated. Forget 1962, 2013, when the Depsang thing, the Chinese came inside, set up their infrastructure. They were sitting there, etc., and then we were in eyeball to eyeball. You remember that incident? You must be
So
remembering
then,
that 2000.
yeah, so we gave a riposte at Chumar in the south, where we have an advantage, and they went back from Depsang.
Correct, but should not forget that the NSA, Mr. Menon, who was the NSA here, and the current external affairs minister at that time was the Indian ambassador to China, and he was the Indian pointsman in China negotiating with the Chinese political establishment there. And the 2013 agreement, and thereafter the Chinese withdrawal and vacating from their you know uh, dismantling their infrastructure and moving back was done by them. Now what is happening today? Is it happening? It is
Sir,
not.
even these proposals which we are speculating about, the informal, news in the media, etc., they all relate to the area north and south of Pangong Tso, and they completely exclude any discussions on the huge problem in Depsang, sir. Our Y junction from our last discussions, Raki Nala,
That,
where
yeah,
in 2014 the
yes.
Chinese went
So,
back.
so that is the flip side of this whole story. Now the media is talking, or whatever media report has come is concentrated in this Pengongso South and Chushul sector.
Sir, here,
Nobody.
if I might interject, sir, you might find this humorous that while very rightly you are saying that all these media reports are speculation as of today because there is no official rubber stamp on this, there's no official endorsement of this. But there are some Darbari journalists, and I say this with full responsibility, consciously making the statement. Some Darbari journalists, they are even claiming that the Chinese have agreed to withdraw from Y Junction and give Indian Army or ITBP full patrolling access to the patrolling points from 10 southwards, 10, 11, 11 alpha, 12, 13. I mean, look at the extent, I don't know, this is not speculation, this is cloud cuckoo land.
No, no, that is a different story. The this kind of story was already happening uh, when everybody was saying no, no, the Chinese have not come inside. There is nothing like that. Uh, there is some all that, when these terminologies started suddenly appearing, buffer zone and no man's land, and the line of actual control is not demarcated. Nobody knows which is the correct line of actual control, etc. It was coming from that side only, and finally the prime minister made a statement that no. Interestingly, yesterday when I was reading the Chinese media, uh, what is that? What Global Times
Times.
article? If you go back to that article and if you see the graphic that is there, the graphic is very interesting. There is one red line. On one side you have the Chinese flag. On one side you have the Indian flag. And there are these military boot marks on ground. On the Chinese side, the Chinese boot marks are not even touching the line of actual control, whereas our military boot marks are on the line of control and across it. Means directly or indirectly that even the graphic is saying that the Chinese have not come inside. It is
Yep.
we who have transgressed the line of actual control. Now that is a direct result of that statement that we have to go back to कि कोई अंदर आया ही नहीं, किसी ने
Not
कब्जा ही
even an
नहीं किया.
inch, not even an inch of territory, Indian territory has been occupied or whatever.
Exactly. So that graphic, if you can pick it up, uh, it is like what we say, that Kavat, that a picture speaks 1,000 words. It
Sir,
is that graphic which is very very telling. It was there yesterday in the Global Times article.
sir.
Means even the Chinese are saying, no, no, our military boots have not even gone close to the line of actual control. It is the Indians who have crossed the line of actual control. That means the Galwan incident was an incident where we lost 20 lives because our boys went across.
Yeah. Unfortunately, that's the story a lot of Darbari journalists had been parroting this side of the LSE also in India also at
So
that time.
that is so ultimately that is the point. Now the point that you raised. Nobody is talking of the Depsang plains. All right. Now the point is that in Depsang plains, the everybody knows that in 2013 the Chinese had withdrawn back. They had gone back to their side of the line of actual control. They have now this time come and occupied up and denied us even territory up to Y Junction. Yesterday I was having a discussion with the Colonel Saab, whatever. He was trying to say what happened in 2013. I said, what happened in 2013? They went back. The man who took credit for the whole success of that going back was Mr. Jaishankar,
Sir.
ambassador to China in Beijing, who negotiated that. In fact, Mr. Modi at that time in April 2013, it is a very popularly circulated screenshot of a tweet that Chinese have gone back. It is understood. Why are we moving back in our own territory is not understood. Mr. Modi himself has said in 2013.
Sir.
So now where is this argument that they came inside in 2013 in Depsang and never came back, and never went back? Arey bhai, the man who is the external affairs minister today, the man who is the Chinese, who is the prime minister today, in 2013 they themselves said that the Chinese went back. So
Sir.
if in 2013 they went back, it means the Chinese have come in now and now denied us our territory. Now if why is all the negotiation here about Pangong South and this Kailash and Chushul axis? Why? Why are we not talking of there? That if we have to vacate our the heights occupied on the Kailash Ridge, which is dominating your Rekinla post and your Moldo garrison and your Spangur infrastructure, then
Sir.
you vacate our Depsang territory that you are dominating. You vacate our
No talk around
petroleum
that.
points. You vacate
No
our
talk.
Y junction.
No talks reported on that, sir.
That is exactly what is bizarre. Why should we vacate our territory? The Chinese have come in. They have to vacate our territory. Why is our media not saying that? Even this planted information, or this planted information at least should say that. The planted information is also not saying that. Now coming to now the other aspect
Sir,
that
the
comes.
Global Times, the one you are quoting, they are giving this a little different slant. They are quoting a gentleman called Qian Feng, the director of the research department at the National Strategy Institute at Tsinghua University. Global Times quoting him, and he is saying that Indian military's eagerness is understandable. The weather in the standoff area has become colder, and it faces great pressure in ensuring logistical supplies. But this kind of tip-off is not good for the two sides to implement the consensus reached in their previous rounds of talks and could mislead opinion. Now, this is, if you mark his words, he is apparently a leading Chinese think tank representative. He's saying is India in its own interest of floating these rumors because those positions are untenable in winter. So India has to anyways fall back. So
So that is exactly what I am coming to. Then we have to link to our last talk that we had.
sir,
I said it is very good. You can go and occupy heights. And then do what? Now just simply going and sitting on top does not make sense. Why have you gone and sat on top? Because you want to dominate the Chinese side. You want to dominate the Chinese side in a viable military tactical position. Now, if you have to have a viable military tactical position, you have to create infrastructure in which those soldiers can sit and occupy those heights. Now, last time in our last talk also I had said, had this occupation happened sometime in April or May, it was understood. But now in the month of October, November, when the temperature are already starting to plummet, the October, November onwards, the western disturbances start, the causing bad weather and snowing. The snowing will start. Temperatures have already started to reach about minus minus 15, minus 20. They will further go down. So the Chinese propaganda is trying to, will always try to say this, but that is a different aspect. The real story is that Chinese are jittery that we are sitting on those heights.
So then, where does it leave us? If China, this global times is like some of these Indian channels which are very close to the establishment. I won't name them. India TV channels, China's Global Times is also viewed globally as being very close to the establishment, and the establishment speaks through them. So if they are completely disregarding the information which has come out in the last couple of days, so you're saying China, that means holding its nerve, not blinking.
Yes, but if we go prima facie by the reports that are emerging from our media and what are emerging from Chinese media, you will get a feeling that the Chinese, at least the Chinese propaganda machinery, is putting up a very strong, brave face that we are not the guys who are at a disadvantage. It is the Indians who are at a disadvantage, and it is them who is wanting to wriggle out of the situation.
Hmm.
Now that is exactly what I told some time back.
Yes,
I,
sir.
I said the Indian media at least should assert itself. At least should reports should have emerged that all right, Pangong South, Chushul axis, this is what the talks are going on. But in the DPO sector, in Depsang sector, this is what we have said. Ki bhai, you also go back. There you vacate, we will come back from our position here.
There was one report in the Indian media. These reports are all, of course, no one can really vouch for them, which said that this present government has washed its hands of the Depsang fiasco, if I might use that word. They say we have inherited it. It's not. This problem is not under our watch. It has happened before, and so I don't know what that means really. If it's true, I really don't know what to say, sir.
I don't know what is true, but the fact is that if we stop talking of Depsang and de facto give up Depsang, then DBO Karakoram sector is gone. The runway activation of DBO uh, or the DBO sector itself is gone.
But we heard
So
a lot of war talk from our military establishment sometime back, sir. Our CDS was regularly making very, very bellicose statements about how India would be forced to kind of, take recourse to uh, action, so to say.
no. See. The point is that a military general in uniform, if you ask him, "Are we ready for war?" What do you expect a military general to answer? Obviously, he'll say, "Yes, we are ready for war. We will take action when we are very strong. We will." Any military general will say that. Do you expect a military general to say no, we are not ready for war, no, we don't want war, etc.? No, that will not happen.
I don't think the
that
question
is
was
that is why
like
I
that.
keep saying
But the
that is why I
question
keep
wasn't
saying it is the
like.
political establishment who has to start making statements.
Uh,
It is the political you know the it is the political establishment who has to say The political establishment does not have to make statements of warmongering. It is the job of the man in uniform who's supposed to talk of war. The political establishment is supposed to talk of ascertaining, see, maintaining the sovereignty of our territorial boundaries is the responsibility of the government, of the political establishment. The military is only a tool or a force which facilitates holding of territory. The
So,
military does not, you try and understand, the military does not ensure territorial authority. It is the government, it is the political establishment, the ruling government of any country which which asserts territorial authority. It is not the military which defines the geopolitical map. It is the government which defines the geopolitical map. Therefore, whenever it comes to asserting our rights over our territory, the statement should not be कि कोई आया नहीं कुछ नहीं. It is not. It should not be a state of denial. The political establishment has to say, all right, this has happened. This is the negotiation which is going on in Pangong South, Chushul sector, but it is not in isolation. That is the another sector which is under dispute. We we want complete settlement. The Chinese should go back from there. We will come to an understanding in Pangong South and Chushul sector. But that is not happening. We don't want the defense minister or the prime minister or some other minister to say we are ready for war. अरे ready for war तो army वाला बोल रहा है.
सर अभी अगर पॉलिटिकल एस्टेब्लिशमेंट की बात करें तो मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ एक्सटर्नल अफेयर्स when they entered into an agreement with the Chinese counterparts a couple of months back, it was categorically said there'll be no war, and
Yes,
things will be sorted out
yes.
peacefully.
The External Affairs Ministry has, in its official statement, has said that there will be no war.
So,
But the Defense Minister said we are ready for war. The CDS, who de facto works somewhere between the political establishment and the military establishment, most of the time his statements are very confusing if it is political or if it is military. No, he is saying ki, we are ready for war, this, that, fala, dimka. That
but
is not the point.
if talks don't yield results, then India will be forced to look at the other option.
So if 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 we if we talk of what is specifically, even though the Indian media is also saying that no final agreement has been arrived at, that caveat the Indian media is also giving. Indian media has not said that no, it is a final agreement. Indian media is also saying that no final agreement has been come, but these are the three proposals under here.
Indian media is saying this is almost a done deal. They said it's
Correct.
almost a done deal.
Yeah. So, point one about Pengongso North. As a military man, I am aghast. I am disturbed that we have given away uh, authority to the Chinese to dictate terms to us from finger 8 till finger 3, which is de facto our territory. It is very disturbing. Second, Kailash Ridge Line, the complete ridge line, Magar Hill, etc., everything. We should not, if we are holding, come what may, bad weather, adverse conditions, provide logistics, do anything, temporary shelters, arrangements, we should not agree to vacate those heights if we are physically holding it. We should hold those heights and remain there till the time the Chinese Chinese come to an agreement on the DBO Depsang standoff. We should keep our pressure onto the Chinese Spangor, Moldo, Rekinla, this axis. We should keep the pressure on and negotiate for the DBO Depsang area. And the third thing, move back of armor and artillery, etc. Our armor sitting well within our territory is our problem. Our armor has not crossed the line of control, line of actual control, or is not sitting within 1 kilometer of the line of actual control. Artillery is also not sitting there. As per the terms of agreement of the CBMs, confidence building measures between accepted that document. It has got a very long name. Agreement on peace and tranquility, etc. It has got a very long name. But in short, we call them CBMs. It just says that combat aircraft, armed attack helicopters cannot approach within 1 kilometer of LAC. Unarmed helicopters and unarmed aircraft can go up to the LAC.
So, sir,
Same.
when you were flying, did you take your unarmed helicopters on the LSC?
Yes, we used to go. There is no reason to go right bang up to the LAC. It does not make sense because as it is flying, you can see long distances. So,
Sir.
for example, if the LAC is passing through a rivulet, means the north bank. For example, the north bank of the rivulet is is where the LAC is passing. You fly along the rivulet. Nobody bothers you. We used to go and land at Demchok. Demchok is Demchok is right on the LAC. So so that is unarmed helicopters, unarmed jeeps, lorries, etc. These are not banned up to the LAC. Yeah, combat vehicles, armored personnel carriers, ICVs, AFVs, etc. can't go so close. All right, don't go so close. Stay located behind Chushul airfield. Remain located near Chushul. The Chinese can have no objection to it. Chinese can't tell कि you remove your tanks and send back to Leh. Who are they to tell us? Last chat also I told you the Chinese can keep claiming wherever they want. Who are they
Sir,
to tell
what
us
you were
what we do on our
saying,
side of the territory?
unfortunately, sir, then what you were saying that they're asking us to withdraw armor, and they of course would in their turn also they would also withdraw armor. Last time in 62 war, we had two troops of AMX 13 tanks at the base of Gurung Hill, covering the Spangur Gap axis. And for strange reason, 114 Brigade withdrew everything wholesale from all Chushul positions, the lower heights of Gurung Hill, which had not been occupied by the Chinese, the side of Gurung Hill adjoining the Spangur Gap. And they just kind of abandoned everything overnight and came back with armor. So this time, when you said that we are pulling back armor from our side, and it kind of rang a bell, sir.
So that is what I said. Who are Chinese to tell us to withdraw our armor when we are already our tanks are sitting somewhere which are not violating the document, the India China agreement already in place, the CBM document which is already in place. And And okay, you can see your armor sitting right there makes no difference until unless there is the guns are firing. The guns are not firing. The tanks are not firing.
So, which means now, if we look at the summary, where does it all leave us? Because if this is true, then India has accepted that the only way out is giving up one's advantage gained in the last 3 months in the Kailash range. At what benefit to us? Like you said, there's no benefit because the buffer zone is entirely in our side of finger eight, between finger three and finger eight, which is no gain for us, right? I mean, we are giving up claims to our territory and making it no man's land. And the issue of Depsang hasn't come up at all. So I mean, where does it leave us, sir? If we accept this, it's bad for us. You are advocating very strongly that there should be no question of giving up anything, the territory beyond finger three up to finger eight as a no man's land, and no question of vacating the Kailash Heights. And if this is not true, that means we have a long winter haul ahead with no hope.
Yes, I am very clear. I am very clear. It is extremely disheartening to hear that we are de facto, uh, giving away our right to patrol our own territory up to finger eight. We we have gone and occupied those heights in the Kailash ridgeline for a reason, and to come back from there is to even think without without achieving any tangible results is again very disheartening. If no tangible result has been achieved, then why did these people go climb up and go and sit there? Who will answer for that? Somebody has to answer. If no tangible result has been achieved, then why did we go and sit on top?
Tangible
Were we
result
thinking that
is
the Chinese will come and
China.
sit on top?
Tangible result is China going back from finger four to the Sirijap complex. That's the tangible result.
No, no, Sirijap complex is Sirijap as it is our territory.
Sir, Sirijap is beyond the LSE. 62 post 62 LSE runs through finger eight, sir. So
Yeah, all right.
Sirijap
All right,
is,
Sirijap is Sirijap is just
yeah.
across the LSE, just north of the LSE. All the time that I operated there, all the time I took all these senior officers on aerial recce, etc. It was always that is Sirijap. That is the dividing line. Now suddenly today in 2020 I am getting to hear no, oh that is not, we used to travel till there, they used to travel till here, etc., etc. Yes,
So did you
in
fly
2020.
low over finger eight, sir? Did you fly low near
No,
Sirijap?
no, we in a single engine helicopter we are not supposed to fly over large water bodies. So we never went up to finger eight in single engine helicopter.
Okay.
We used to remain on the southern bank only.
So southern bank parallel to Sirijap would be helmet top, or further northeast of helmet top. So
No, you no, you fly at a height, and parallel to Thakung you can see Sirijap clearly.
yeah, so from Thakung you can see northeast, right?
Yeah, you can
North.
clearly see Sirijap, Thakung is there.
Okay.
So that is how it is. Now, if you want me to summarize, I'll tell you, three things or four things. One, this whole whole thing about Pangong North is utterly distressing. It should not happen that way. We should not accept it. About about the Kailash ridgeline, if we are occupying it, we must have occupied it due to some reason, and that reason is our military commanders envisaged that there is a possibility that the Chinese are coming and going to occupy it. So it was a preemptive move that we went and sat on top. If that is the case, then the real issue of depriving the Chinese from occupying that height remains uh, remains live. Now, if we agree to roll back from those heights, then we are leaving it open for the Chinese to come and occupy it. Once the Chinese come and physically occupy it, it will be virtually impossible to dislodge them. What will you do?
And also, sir, we had gotten sat on a very strategic point leading up to Blacktop, Kala Top, Helmet Top. On the
Yeah.
way, trying to cut off the logistic route, Chinese logistic route to Kala Top, Helmet Top. So that was also a very strategic position we had taken, sir. So that also
Yes.
apparently we will have to come back from.
No. That is what is problematic about this news report. That is what I'm saying. And third is about moving back our artillery and armor. Yeah, that 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 can be done. Forward posturing of armor is a threatening move. Anytime forward posturing of mechanized forces, that is armor and mechanized infantry, by any country is a threatening move. So, in case there is a confidence building measure to be worked out, then I do not have a problem, fundamental problem for both the mechanized forces that both the armor to move back to a mutually agreed safe distance. That is the only one that I personally don't find problematic. Now, the besides these three, the fourth thing that I find problematic is that we are not talking of BBO Depsang. That is complete. The Y junction, everything.
Sir,
That is
no
that is very
mention.
problematic. So now that is what it is.
While we are discussing, there's a news breaking that China's Global Times is now accepting that yes, an agreement is on the anvil, that India and China are on the verge of a breakthrough. But they're saying something which is funny and very disturbing. They're saying that the agreement is that India, quoting them, they're saying India's trespassing staff. I mean, they would perhaps mean India's trespassing personnel should first vacate the areas they have trespassed in beyond the LAC, to the south of Pangong Tso, before China considers vacating any area to the north of Pangong Tso. Now, this is very disturbing and a little offensive, sir.
See, I mentioned Global Times some time back also. See, I don't take Global Times so seriously because Global Times is is a boastful kind of a thing. They are more into big propaganda than giving real information. However, if you remember, I mentioned in the previous article 2 days back, they had given a graphic. Their graphic showed exactly the same thing, which the article that has just now come. That graphic said the same thing which now the author in the Global Times article is putting in words that it is the Indians who have crossed the LAC or transgressed the LAC, while the Chinese have done nothing. Even though the article says that the PLA is sitting in finger 4. So de facto, what Global Times is saying that finger 4 is that 1959 claim line. So what China is trying to say through Global Times is कि भाई we are being magnanimous to the Indians by going back to finger 8 from finger 4, but Indians have to go back behind finger 3, between finger 2 and finger 3. So you get the point. Whatever is happening here is that China is saying that the Indians have agreed to give away their claim up to finger 8. In fact, not even finger 4. Go behind finger 3, between finger 2 and finger 3. That is highly distressing.
So the latest news is a little more offensive, as in they are saying India has agreed or China has demanded, and the agreement is being reached along those lines, that Indian trespassing staff, quoting them, which means trespassing personnel,
That is
would
exactly
first
what I'm
withdraw.
saying. That is exactly what I'm saying. That same article is also saying that they are at finger 4
Yeah.
and they have agreed to vacate. Means they are saying that finger 4, their PLA sitting at finger 4 is not trespassing line of actual control. However, our fellows at some other point on the LAC have transgressed the LAC. As far as I know or I understand, the only place that we could have crossed the 1962 LAC is possibly on the ridgeline above of
Rekin.
Rekinla.
Yes, sir.
And that is what 200 300 meters, not even 200 300 meters. It is just there. The the LAC passes through the top of Rekinla Ridge, and we are sitting there. So so you see, this is a clever manipulation of the whole situation. Means as far as the Chinese uh, official media is concerned, they are saying that Indian Army has transgressed the LAC. However, our people last 6 months have been saying नहीं नहीं उनका कोई अंदर नहीं आया. Now you try to make sense of this.
It's all bizarre, sir. Absolutely
No,
bizarre.
it is bizarre. Exactly, it is bizarre. Our people are saying nobody. No, the PLA has not come in. That means PLA. That means Global Times is claiming is right. That the Chinese are on their side of LAC, on their territory. That means finger 4 is their territory. How? This is bizarre.
So how do you read this, sir? This latest development of China's semi-official media
No,
saying this?
we will have to wait for the official announcement to come. Uh, it is not making sense. And if the official announcement from our Indian official sources actually gets published, that yeah, we are actually moving back between finger 2 and finger 3, and that we are coming down from Kailash ridgeline, then I'm sorry, it is it will be capitulation equal to or worse than 1962. It will be worse. In fact, it will be worse than 1962, because in 1962 the Chinese came up to the 1959 line but went back to where the LAC is. Now it will be worse, because then we are de facto, certifying the 1959 claim line as a justified claim of territory by the Chinese. So it is actually capitulation.
So I get your point.
Whatever we show of on our geopolitical map, the whole of Aksai Chin, de facto we'll be officially, uh, you know, giving away our claim to Aksai Chin. In fact, not even Aksai Chin, we will agree to a, a 1959 claim line, which even in 1962 we did not accept, and which was not valid.
And China also didn't insist in
Yeah,
62.
and China also did. Yeah, and China also didn't insist. So if 1962 was a debacle, was a tragedy, or whatever you call it, in 2020, if this actually happens, what is being reported by Indian media and Chinese media, if this actually happens, then what? It is Armageddon.
Yeah, what you have explained now in great details, including your personal feel of that particular area from flying, would go a long way in apprising our viewers about the pros and cons of the issues involved in this disengagement talks and the rumors which are floating, and also go a long way in disabusing the completely misleading rumors being planted by Darbari journalists, which create no end of confusion and create illusions, a false sense of feel good amongst Indian
Yeah, a
populace. And
false sense of bravado. I don't know how does it. I I don't know.
we hope
It is
the
bizarre. It is
better
bizarre.
sense prevails.
Yeah.
We do hope the better sense
Somebody
prevails.
should be talking the. Somebody needs to be talking the truth.
Sir, true, sir.
Nobody is saying. Nobody is saying that make up stories which co- which are depressing. No, nobody is saying. But 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 at least come out with certain degree of truth. At least tell people should be made aware ki, "Bhai, this is the situation and this is how things are being worked out." But then there is too much of disinformation and very little information. And the moment people like me or others, we start analyzing and start speaking out the truth, we are immediately set aside that no, you guys are not speaking. That is
Thanks
what
a
it
lot,
is.
sir. Thank you
Yeah,
for your time and thank you for the excellent overview and analysis which you have provided to our viewers. And we do hope that better sense prevails. We do hope that a positive outcome comes out of all this, and hopefully without bloodshed. We can only hope, sir. Thanks a lot. Good night.
yeah. Let us wait for the official statement. Every military level talks, the External Affairs Ministry has come out with an official statement.
Yep.
Till these previous seven, the official statement that has come out was virtually copy paste. Let us
So,
hope that the the statement that comes out of this eighth round of talks gives some tangible direction, gives some real information as to what is happening. Yeah, let us hope for the best.
yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Good night, Jai Hind, sir.
Thanks, Jai Hind, Jai Hind.